Jason, what are the steps that I need to take if I decide to move to California? Well, you're in luck guys, because in this video, I'm gonna go over the 23 steps you need to take if you decide to move to California as a nurse. Getting licensed and moving to California as a nurse can be a daunting process. I remember when Monica and I first decided we would move to California, we had so many questions with no one to guide us through the process. In this video, I'm gonna go over the 23 steps nurses should take when moving to California. And if you're wondering why we chose to move here, take a look at my previous video on the 5 reasons why nurses should move to California if they live in New York City or any other state in the US. Now, let's move on to the video. Step number 1, apply for your license. The application process of getting licensed in California is one of the most cumbersome nursing application processes of any state. You must complete the online nursing license application. Then, you need to submit your LiveScan or fingerprint card. This is a process that needs to be completed in order for the Justice Department in California to complete your criminal background check. LiveScan is the fastest method, but requires you to fly to California, which I do highly recommend, as you will see in the following steps. Otherwise, you will have to bring your fingerprint card with you to one of your local police departments, request that they roll your fingerprints onto the card, and mail it back to a processing company in California. You're also going to have to go to the official Nurse Sys with a Y website to verify your current RN license. This verification process is going to cost you around $30 at the time this video was uploaded. Next, you will have to request your transcripts directly from your school and have them forwarded to the nursing board. And the last step in the application process is you having to decide if you're going to pay the extra fee for a temporary license, which is going to allow you to work in California prior to receiving your permanent license. Okay, so this is only step 1 in the 23 steps nurses should take when moving to California. Let's move on to step number 2. Step number 2, you have to decide where in California you guys want to live. When Monica and I first decided we wanted to visit California, we have never visited California prior to our decision to move. So the first place we decided to visit was San Diego because we've heard so many good things about its climate. We visited San Diego in December of 2016, right after we submitted our nursing applications. When we arrived to San Diego, we visited the hospitals, the restaurants, the beaches, the zoo. It was drier than we expected it to be. Coming from New York City where you have a ton of precipitation, San Diego was just not a fit for us. That, coupled with the high cost of living and the low nursing wages, it was just not a good fit for us. So we went back to New York City, and while in New York City, we booked another trip in February of 2017. By the time we got to San Francisco, thank goodness our licenses were approved. It only took 2 months to get our permanent licenses approved. Now, like I said before, it might be different for you guys depending on the method you choose to do the fingerprinting process. Anyway, moving on. While we were in San Francisco, we didn't do any apartment searches because we knew moving to San Francisco with the higher cost of living than San Diego, even though you got the higher wages, didn't make sense for us. It would have felt like moving to a more expensive version of New York City. So, I remember having a friend that worked with me in New York City. He was a nurse also. Him, his wife, and his family moved to Roseville, California. That's one of the suburbs of Sacramento, California. So I called him up and I asked him if we could go pay him a visit. On the way to Roseville, we stopped at Pleasanton and looked at a couple of apartments. But they weren't a good fit for us either, so we just kept on going towards Roseville. By the time we reached Roseville, my friend and his wife drove us to the nearest hospitals, including the 2 major hospitals in the city, which are Sutter Roseville and Kaiser Roseville. After visiting the hospitals, they took us to an apartment complex where the rent at the time was $1,600 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. There is no way we would have been able to find a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment in New York City for $1,600. And when he brought us back to his home and talked to us about his benefits, his pay, we were convinced Roseville was the city for us. And let me not forget to mention, the school system is one of the best in the Sacramento area. Okay, so now that you've chosen where you want to live, let's move on to step number 3. Step number 3, search for home prices. Home prices in the greater Sacramento area are lower than other major cities in California, but these prices have sharply risen since we moved to California in 2017. And I think this goes without saying that home prices have risen dramatically across the board throughout the country. Okay, let's move on to step number 4. Step number 4, research hospitals. There are a few major hospital chains in California. You have Kaiser Permanente, Sutter Health, Dignity Health, and the UC hospitals. Okay, step number 5, visit California. You will have to do this so you can get a better picture of the neighborhood you would like to move to or work in. Step number 6, while visiting, get your LiveScan done. Like I mentioned before, LiveScan is the fastest way to get your application approved because the fingerprint process will take place in California and you don't have to mail out any fingerprint cards that may take weeks to arrive and get processed in California. As I mentioned before, San Diego was the first place we decided to visit in California. And during our visit, we decided to stop at a LiveScan processing center, which was really just a man at a U-Haul office. But hey, it got the job done. Okay, moving on. Step number 7, apply for jobs in cities you wish to work and live in. I applied for work in the Roseville and Sacramento area because I wanted to get a feel for what it was like to work in California before Monica got a chance to do so. Okay, step number 8, view apartments. When we visited San Diego, we looked at apartments before our licenses were approved. 2 months later, we were in San Francisco. But instead of looking for apartments in San Francisco, we went to Roseville and looked at apartments in Roseville. So, if at all possible, rent a car and drive to other cities because you might find better options elsewhere. Okay, let's move on to step number 9. Step number 9, if at all possible, go on interviews before returning to your home city. Our licenses were approved while we were visiting San Francisco, 2 months after we submitted our applications. I applied for jobs immediately, and I was able to schedule an interview with Dignity Health before I even left San Francisco. And the best part about that is, I received a job offer before returning to New York. Okay. Let's move on to step number 10. Step number 10, if you haven't received a job offer yet, go back to your home city, apply from your home city, because you have to remember, ever since the pandemic, the most prevalent methods of holding job interviews are phone, Skype, and Zoom interviews. They're bigger now than they ever were before, so take advantage of that. I say that because when I returned to New York City, I applied to other California hospitals. I had a job interview with Sutter Health over the phone. And 5 minutes after hanging up the phone, I received the job offer. Okay, let's move on to step number 11. Step number 11, accept the offer. I myself accepted a job at Sutter Health. Okay, let's move on to step number 12. Step number 12, apply for apartments in California. Do this in person while you visit, as I mentioned before, if possible. Otherwise, let me know if you have any questions about the different neighborhoods in the Sacramento region, if this is where you're considering to move to. Okay, let's move on to step number 13. Step number 13, notify your current employer. I made sure that I notified my employer at least 2 to 3 weeks before I expected us to fly out to California. Now, the reason I did this is because it was required from my employer that I notify them 2 weeks in advance if I wanted to get paid out my unused paid time off and sick time. So, look at your hospital policies to make sure that you put in a resignation early enough to qualify for those benefits. Okay, with that being said, let's move on to step 14. Step number 14, find a moving company. This is what we chose to do because we flew out to California. We had 2 cars, a daughter, and 2 cats. There was no way we were gonna drive out to California with all of that going on. So make sure you ask your friends for any moving company recommendations or just go to Google if you can't find one. All right, let's move on to step number 15. Step number 15, find a car transport company. Most car transport companies have standard fees and will all cost you around the same amount. However, the one thing you should know is that you will be charged a premium if you select to have your car transported in an enclosed carrier. We opted for the less expensive option of an uncovered transport. Alright, let's move on to step number 16. Step number 16, buy your flights to land a few days before the moving companies arrive. It can take the moving companies up to 2 weeks for your furniture to be delivered, so be prepared to sleep on the floor for a few days if you are moving into an apartment that comes unfurnished. Okay, let's move on to step number 17. Step number 17, rent a car for a few days and pick it up when you arrive at the airport. This we knew was a priority for us because living in Roseville, it was going to be pretty challenging getting around without a car. Okay, let's move on to step number 18. Step number 18, drive to your California apartment. We arrived in San Francisco at 11 p.m. and didn't arrive in Roseville until 2 a.m. So, when you fly out here, make sure you account for the time it takes to land at the airport and then drive to your destination. With that said, let's move on to step number 19. Step number 19, buy groceries and essentials. After arriving at Roseville at 2 a.m., we spent another hour or so shopping for groceries when we arrived at Roseville because we had no food in the refrigerator. We did not sleep until 5 a.m. the next day, and we ended up sleeping on the floor because we had no furniture to sleep on. Okay, let's move on to step number 20. Step number 20, receive your delivery in the coming days. Our furniture arrived before our cars did. The furniture arrived in mint condition. One of our cars, on the other hand, had a dent on it that we didn't notice until weeks after the delivery was made. So, make sure you inspect your vehicles before you sign the delivery receipt contract. Okay, let's move on to step number 21. Step number 21, get to know your neighborhood and its surrounding areas. Over the next couple of days, you're going to want to visit your hospital, the shopping centers, the banks, the gas stations, the gyms, the schools, you name it. Get accustomed to your neighborhood. Okay, let's move on to step number 22. Step number 22, start your new job. Congratulations, you did it. This is your first day of work and you made it. And with that being said, guess what step number 23 is going to be? Okay, step number 23, profit. That's right. You now have a high-paying job in a low cost of living area, hopefully. So what are you going to do? Profit. That's what Monica and I are doing. We paid off all of our debt except for our house, and we are profiting every day. We have now been living in California for nearly 4 years as of February 2021, and we can confidently say that we will never leave California to work in another state ever again. All right, guys, we did it. 23 steps nurses moving to California need to take. So, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button or comment with questions or suggestions for new videos. And make sure to watch our last video on 5 reasons why you should move to California if you're a nurse working in New York City or anywhere else in the US. So, see you on the next one, guys.